What's up guys, it's your boy Crispy back again with the solo ranger drow run. Just as you know from last episode, we left off in Beregost. Obviously this is the section now where things start to actually kick off a little bit. I do die quite often, as normal, just because combat is a little bit naff at the moment still. I believe this is the part where we actually head to Nashkel Mines and, you know, start actually doing some progression in the main story. Obviously, character becomes a little bit more powerful after we do the bandit camp. So after Cloakwood, when we get the Pulse of the Cheetah, as I said in the last episodes, character gets a lot better, just because of mobility. Mobility is key for a solo archer. I have that feeling though, because the reason I don't really want to take this character into Baldur's Gate 2 is only because you don't get the Pulse of the Cheetah until a lot later on. I think you can actually get them if you kill Renal Bloodscalp, but I've never done that, so I don't actually know if you get them off of his character. So possibly yes, possibly no, I don't know. Here what I'm doing is I'm getting the braces of, I think they're called Dale's Protector. It's the gauntlets that give you the +2 to your any missile damage and ranged attack rolls. So it's actually really handy for a ranger to use. It's better than using Legacy of the is it Legacy of the Weapon Master or something like that? I can't remember, but either way, it's those gauntlets are the ones you get for they're for Fireline Bridge or the Bandit Camp. Obviously, they're more for melee opponents, melee users. These are for ranged characters. It just basically gives me a really good attack rolls, because as you see I'm doing +6 at the moment. Afterwards that'll give me about a +8, and then when I get the next proficiency in bows it's about a +9 on all of my attack rolls from range, which basically makes me hit permanently. Pretty much can't miss a shot, which is good. Obviously if they get close then I'm screwed, but then that's just normal in general, which is why I desperately need the Pulse of the Cheetah. So this run at the moment, currently I'm just going around picking up some vital equipment. I go and get Batista's Rapport at some point, which is the 40% or 50% fire resistance ring. It's really handy to use, especially if you're using the Amulet of Cheese, the amulet that I use to cast fireballs and stuff like that. As you see as well, I'm picking up one of those the hidden caches that are hidden around, and this I believe is the only scroll of Cloudkill in the game. I don't know if you can actually buy it from characters in this, but I think it's the only scroll you can get, or one of the only scrolls. But you see I'm just doing like spoken to a little kid. That little kid isn't quite so little. I've never actually thought about attacking him or doing the bad thing against him. I don't know if there is a bad thing, but yeah, I'm tempted on doing the paladin playthrough and just going up to him and doing detect evil and seeing what happens, because I just want to see what does happen and see if he comes up classified as an evil character. Because obviously if you complete the quest and you give him Rufy, then obviously you'll know what he is. But it's just an interesting thing. And one thing as well I've never done is about the Mellow Camp chicken thing. I've always wanted to take Minsk with me when I see the talking chicken, just to see if Minsk has any dialogue. But I've never done that myself. Like, I always rush Mellow Camp the chicken because it's a really decent 2000 XP gain. So it's like, this really, like, you know, just get that over and done with as quickly as possible, just to get as best head start in the game as possible. Obviously I've got Rufy's chew toy, which I was just looking at very strangely, thinking what is that in my inventory. Then I realised I've got the quest. And obviously got Larry, Daryl and Daryl. And now if any of you are OG fans, you'll know who they are. So I was like, oh yeah, get the autograph. Just because why not? It's better than asking them who they are. But yeah, you'll know who they are if you're OGs. So one of the main points of this is I realise I might be a little bit hindered during Saravok boss battle, just because I don't have poison weapons. Now, poison weapons is a very handy ability to use, especially with detonating arrows, especially with just in general using bows. I don't have that because I've chosen a ranger archer character, and I have no melee proficiencies. I'm tempted with leveling up to take a couple of melee proficiencies. What I should have done is not use short bow whatsoever in this playthrough, and then taken like daggers or something, and then dual wield daggers. Only reason I took short bow was because I was originally thinking ahead, thinking, oh yeah, Shadow of Arm, you get a really good short bow, which is 3 attacks per round, right at the start of the game, after you get out of Chateau Arenicus. Obviously, I'm not taking this character into playing Baldur's Gate 2, so kind of a little bit redundant on that one. So would have been a good idea to maybe go into EE Keeper and change that proficiencies, but I'm not going to because that is classified as cheating. So, you know, I've purposely hindered myself to not use any melee weapons, which is stupid on my part, because if I was to have chosen daggers, at least I would have had one melee weapon, but I could have also used the throwing knives, so it wouldn't have been a bad shout. I just didn't think that far ahead. Obviously, I'm picking up I think this is the best leather armor in the game aside from the shadow armor. And as you can see from the last episodes, I couldn't use shadow armor because I'm not a thief, I'm a ranger. So I messed up badly on that one, wasting 15,000 gold. So I just reloaded the save to, you know, stop that stupid mistake. But yeah, I think that is the best leather armor. I think it's actually a better leather armor than the one you get in Durlag's Tower, but forgive me if I'm wrong. Durlag's Tower I do kind of want to do in this playthrough, just because it's an interesting, it's an interesting add-on, because it's part of the Tales of the Sword Coast expansion, which is automatically included in Enhanced Edition. But the only reason is it links with the events of what happens to Siege of Dragonspear. I think I've touched on this a little bit about the Soul Drinker Dagger. You actually get it in this game, in the first game, and then you lose it. And then you find out it's suddenly acquired by the Hooded Man. And when we do play through Siege of Dragonspear, if you're fans of the franchise anyway, you'll know who the Hooded Man is. I knew who he was straight away just by his voice, because obviously Shadow of Arm is probably one of my favourite games of all time. It's rare that the second game is better than the first game. Not by much. I absolutely love the first game. It is amazing. The one annoying thing is, I think I did touch upon this as well, is I cannot play Shadow of Arm anymore without playing through the first game, because I like to import my character from the first game into the second game. Because you get all these bonuses and all these advancements from the first game, from this one, instead of just playing it straight away from Shadow of Arm. And by that I mean all of the tomes, like you get the 3 tomes of wisdoms, boosting your wisdom stats by 3. You can get the strength tome, you get all of the dexterities and constitutions and stuff like that. It's brilliant. It's honestly the best sort of thing to go for. But that being said, I just get a little bit annoyed because I just want to play Shadow of Arm as soon as possible. And as a solo character, that's easy because you play about 6 hours. It's a 6-hour run to normally finish the game if you play properly. It's a lot less than that if you're a lot better than me, which by far I'd say most of you probably are. I just know a lot of the cheesy stuff to get me through. I'm hoping the boss battle with Saravok is going to be really easy with this character, because I will be very high tier geared, highest level in the game, just basically having all the good stuff, having all of the cheese, being able to sort it and deal with it. Obviously with the party playthrough it's going to be a little bit harder, purely for the fact that I'm going to be quite weak, because I have to dish out my items per character. And as I said as well with my Blackguard character as well, my Blackguard character was level 7 by the time I ended, and I did a lot of quests. I did the Lag's Tower with him. I did do the extra cultist thing, the Sandalar mission, which is when you get sent to the Ice Island. I did the sewers. I did a lot. I did most of the stuff that I could find with high tier experience, and I still was only level 7, which was really annoying. Like, I wanted to at least end the game with max level, but I didn't. And then I started Siege of Dragonspear and realised how weak I actually was, because all of the other NPC characters were like level 9 and above, and I was level 7. And I was like, great, I'm pretty weak. But alas, it made me want to start again. Obviously, I don't like cheating. I could have just, brought up the console and given myself the extra experience required, but I'm not that type of person, especially when it comes to RPG games. I used to be when I was younger. When you were playing Oblivion or Morrowind, or even Skyrim for that matter. I was a bit older when Skyrim came out, so wasn't really much of a kid. But when I was playing Oblivion, and then playing it on PC for the first time, and then realise you could get all the console codes up, and you go into the test hall, and then you have every item in the game. It's like it was brilliant. And then it lost its novelty because the game just became stupidly easy. And it's like, oh, this isn't as fun anymore. I'd rather just play the game from the start. But also then I've grown up thinking I like to play my game when I'm hindered, because it makes it more of a challenge. I've become more of a challenge player than anything else, just because it adds a bit more. It just makes the game a lot more interesting. Obviously, if you are watching this, I didn't post yesterday, so I do apologise. This will be coming out the day after. I just want to have a break from recording, but also because I had other things to do. One of the things I've been working on, I created a map yesterday of a fantasy map, just because I wanted to have a world where, one thing for my book, because I am writing a novel just for fun, but also because I wanted to have my own D&D world in a sense, because I want to play pen and paper D&D quite badly, honestly. I just don't know a lot of people who are interested in it. However, I really want to play it, but I want to play in my own world and maybe change the rules a little bit. I've been watching a lot of Critical Role recently. One of my favourite playthroughs, they only did one video of it, but it was the Call of Cthulhu stuff. I played the video game. Call of Cthulhu video game was decent. It was just a bit of it was hyped up a lot to have all of these extras and benefits and stuff like that, and then you get to play the game and you realise there is only actually 3 endings. I was expecting there to be like 20 endings, or if you followed this you couldn't even finish the game. The game was a bit lackluster towards the end, but it's really good. Obviously, if you are interested in Call of Cthulhu, I loved the game, to begin with. If you want to see me play through that, I'm happy to. I do like horror games. I'm just not very good with horror, because I'm a scaredy cat. But Call of Cthulhu was originally a D&D game, and I do want to play that as pen and paper as well. It's not D&D, sorry, but it's a pen and paper, tabletop board game, which I'm more than happy playing. But I've got the video game. I've also got Resident Evil, Biohazard 7. I haven't got any of the new ones. Well, I say new ones, remakes. But Resident Evil 7 was fantastic. It wasn't that scary, but I think that any horror game that requires not using a gun makes the game a lot more horrifying. Any horror game that gives you a gun or gives you a weapon, it kind of is a little bit like, oh, it takes the fear factor away because I've got protection. I can shoot and attack what is attacking me, or I can at least slow them down for me to get away. So Resident Evil for me wasn't like the seventh one. It started off horrifically scary because you didn't have any protection, you didn't have a gun, didn't have anything, and then it became more like the original Resident Evil games, just first person. Obviously, there is a lot of games I've got, so if you ever want to watch me play through them, I'm more than happy to. Obviously, last year I think I did do Skyrim. I am bored of Skyrim now, but if you do want to ever see me play Skyrim or even Oblivion or anything like that again, I'm more than happy to do that. It's whatever you guys want me to want me to play, or whatever you guys are interested in watching. I'm kind of at the moment in this like area where we're more interested in like Dungeons and Dragons. I've always been interested in it, but like more so now than ever. I'm actually contacting a couple of my friends, seeing if they want to be interested in playing Dungeons and Dragons with me. I've recently made an account on D&D Beyond, just to see if I can create my account and create a campaign or something using that. I have looked at Roll20. It's just very confusing. I'm not very good with it, but obviously give me like a couple of hours and I'll probably have created something, using YouTube to use for tutorials and all that stuff. Obviously, if you are watching, get yourself a cup of tea, as our national treasure, our hero Spiffing Brit always says. Sit back and relax, enjoy. Obviously, I've got my cup of tea here. Sometimes, as you can notice, got a bit of a sore throat at the moment, so that sounded a little bit hoarse. It's one of the reasons why I didn't want to do any recording yesterday, just because my throat does hurt a little bit. I think it's because of all of the talking I have been doing, and obviously talking for 16, 17 minutes straight does take its toll a little bit, and but it's fine, I get over it. I enjoy talking, sometimes too much, as friends have told me. But I've always wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons. One of the things I want to do is actually play the Descent into Avernus, because that is linked with Baldur's Gate, which is interesting for me, because obviously anything to do with Baldur's Gate is, I love it. As you see here, I came to the south of Candlekeep area. This is the area where you can pick up one of the best helmets in the game. It gives you a flat 20% resistance against fire, cold, and electricity, as well as immunity from critical hits. It's known as the Gift of Peace or the Helmet of Defense. I think it also gives you a +1 to saving rolls or armor roll. I can't remember. But my opinion, it's probably one of the best helmets in the game for just flat defense. Hence the name Helm of Defense. You'd think, it's good for defenses. But yeah. Now I come to Nashkel Mines. This is the part where I start to progress in the story, because I feel like I'm a decent level now, and also I'm strong enough to take on hordes and hordes of enemies. I do think I mess up a little bit in here because of this is the bit where I think I tried to let Mullahay go. As he surrenders basically, and he then betrays me, and then I get into a really tight bind, and I have to use my Amulet of Cheese up, all of it, which means I then get hindered for the entirety of the game, which isn't great, but it is what it is. You can't help that, unfortunately. Otherwise I would have died, had to reload. Didn't really want to do that, even though it probably would have been more beneficial for me. But you just go with the flow sometimes, and I think in the end I get arrows of detonation, so that's basically the same thing. But yeah, just going through Nashkel Mines at the moment. Just want to be careful when you get towards the end of it. At this level right now, kobolds are super easy to kill. They're literally just one shot. Even with a melee character, they'd be one shot kill. It's just ridiculous. My attack rolls are always really high. So as you can see, I rolled a 3 there, and it was +9, so it was a 12, and that was a hit. So even if I roll a 9, sorry, if I roll a 3, I'm still in double digits. If I roll a 1, I still get 10. So I just have to cross my fingers and hope their armor rating is less than 10. But yes, regardless of that, I've got a really decent bow that I can use. I can easily get above 20. As you can see, I'm picking up that jade ring. That is a ring that you can use to hand in for a quest. So basically, it gives you a bit more experience. Gives you a nice little reward. I think you get some gold out of it. I'm not sure. You want to be careful on this bridge as well, because there are 2 spike traps. So obviously I don't have any way of detecting traps, so I just walk straight over them. But for my character anyway, I'm pretty, tanky, I guess. So I've got a decent health pool, decent levels. I don't really take much damage from any of those spike traps. As you can see, I've stopped picking up arrows per se. That's only because I felt like I had too many of them. That's not a good thing. Always pick up arrows if you can. Normally, what I'd say is have max arrows in all 3 of your arrow slots, but then have 3 extra stacks of arrows in your inventory and then keep it at that. Yeah, I run out of arrows later on, and I get extremely hindered. Like, extremely hindered. To the point where I'm honestly screwed. Because I think all I've got left is my arrows of ice and arrows of fire, and I've only got like 10 of each. But, I think I end up finding some archers and just killing them, and then picking up their arrows. But for a long time I have like no arrows, so I have to be very selective. And yeah, it's just trying to think ahead, and sometimes it's not that easy for me, because I'm trying to rush through this game for you guys, just to see, so you see how I can do. Obviously this bit, be careful. The reason I rest is because there's 3 traps, and they will obliterate you if you're a low level. So if you're playing with a party, you're probably about like level 3 or 4 at this point. Yeah, just be sure to be careful, because it will kill one of your party members. As you can see, I took barely any damage. I thought it was going to take a lot more, but as you can see, I only triggered 2 of the traps. So there's 3 traps, but I only triggered 2 of them. So I might have done a saving throw or something on one of them, which is lucky. This is the bit, as you can see, where I mess up a lot. I'm also very hindered in this fight, because a lot of this is very close quarters combat, and also you have to fight skeletons. Skeletons are the bane of my existence. As a ranger, I should have put skeletons as my enemy. I didn't. But I completely obliterated those guys there with 1 shot from my fire necklace thing. I used the last shot. I say last shot, it's the second to last shot there. But I then get screwed over because I let him surrender, and then I just thought I'd be nice, try and do the good thing. And yeah, it doesn't work out as well as I was hoping. I get massively screwed. I did pause there just because I was debating whether or not I should just kill him. But then, yeah, I realised I get massively screwed. I thought it was just going to be him, and then suddenly I just see more and more kobolds and skeletons coming out. And I'm like, oh no, I've got 1 charge left in my necklace. Don't use it. And I just see loads and loads and loads of them coming. I was like, I'm not going to survive this at close quarters. Might as well use what I had left. Which is sad. Means this necklace is gone. As you can see, I have too many arrows. Yep. I wish I had used my brain capacity to actually keep them, but I didn't. Because I really need more arrows for at least after the bandit camp. Right now, probably I'm safe, but I should have been picking up the arrows at the bandit camp. That ring there, obviously I'm not using it because I'm not a spellcaster, but there's a ring of Selune. Goes for about 5 grand. So in this game, if you're playing solo, money is really not an issue. You can, like, for example, Ring of Wizardry, that went for 9,000. The Ring of Selûne goes for 5,000. You can pretty much get the best gears possible straight away, just because you sell all of this crap equipment that you can't use. As you can see, I realised there was a lot more left. I did not think there was going to be 2 skeletons and 2 kobolds left. I tried to take out the kobolds just so numbers, and they're also squishy. I can kill them with 1 hit. It's the skeletons I'm worrying about. So I start chugging health potions just so I can survive this a little bit longer. This is what I mean by me making silly mistakes playing this game. And also the fact that skeletons take next to no damage from projectiles. So even if I hit them quite easily, but they take 2 damage, and they resist like 18. I think they have literally like a 60% resistance. No, it's got to be more than that. They've got like a 90% resistance to piercing damage. Which is why I feel like what they should have done, I don't know if this is right, but I feel like they should have added blunt arrows into Baldur's Gate, just to sort of like do like bludgeoning damage or like crushing damage or something like that. Because then that way you could actually fight undead and actually have a bit more damage. But yeah, now I've completed Nashkel Mines, and I'm only 2,400 XP away from leveling up.
I shall.
So next stop would be to go off to the bandit camp, which is where I will get my bow that I'll probably use for the rest of the game, if anything. Well, now that Nashkel Mines is finished, I think I'll end the segment here. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a really good day. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. If you want to see more, then please let me know in the comments. Obviously, if you want me to play anything else, like Call of Cthulhu, as I said, or even Skyrim, Oblivion, anything like that, if you're interested in any other playthroughs, let me know. And yeah, hope you all have a good day. Thank you so much for watching, and peace out. Bye.